How does a kid with literally no powers go from this
Do you think I can be a hero too?
to this?
I see you, and you're nothing but a sad, lonely man!
All because he ate a gross strand of hair. That's right. Today, we're talking about My Hero Academia. The #1 superhero anime out there right now that doesn't feature a bald protagonist. Yeah, this series has just finally wrapped up after 8 seasons. So what better time is there to go back through the story from the very beginning? Get ready for a lot of insane powers, so many names to remember, and all of these iconic moments. Go beyond! Episode 1. Izuku Midoriya Origin. On a fateful day in China, a child was born who radiated glowing light. After that, more and more babies were born with unique abilities called quirks. Generations have gone by since then, and approximately 80% of the population now has a quirk of their own. Nobody knows where quirks came from or why, but it is now an age of heroes and an age of villains. We're now in Japan at some point in the near future. Meet Izuku Midoriya, a cheerful and proud member of the Quirkless 20%. Well, maybe not proud exactly, but he definitely wishes he had a quirk. He's not going to let his lack of power stop him from being a hero though. The series opens with Midoriya as a young boy, defending another child from the bullying of Katsuki Bakugo. The cruel and arrogant Bakugo uses his explosion quirk to beat up Midoriya and taunts him for being so weak. We then jump ahead to a 14-year-old Midoriya running to school, when he stops to watch some heroes take down a bad guy. Midoriya is a giant hero fanboy, and he keeps a notebook filled with everything there is to know about professional heroes and their quirks. A giant, rampaging criminal is fighting with the hero Kamui Woods, a badass who can shoot trees out of his arms. But all the credit gets stolen by Mount Lady, a hero who can make herself really, really big. I guess this baddie was taken down by a baddie! At school, Midoriya's teacher says it's time for everyone to decide what they want to do after junior high. Pretty much everyone wants to be a hero, and the best school in the nation for that is UA High. Bakugo is as cocky as ever and thinks he's a shoo-in for UA High. Midoriya gets laughed at by the whole class for even thinking he has a chance of getting in without a quirk. Mean, but you know, they've kinda got a point. Bakugo blows up Midoriya's notebook and straight up tells him he should go jump off the school's roof. Jesus! Kids can be so mean sometimes. On his way home from school, Midoriya passes through a tunnel when he is suddenly attacked by a nasty sludge villain. He is powerless to resist as this icky blob tries to enter Midoriya's mouth and take over his whole body. But he is thankfully saved in the blink of an eye by Japan's #1 hero, the symbol of peace himself, All Might. All Might is a paragon of justice with incredible speed and strength, and always has a smile on his face no matter how bad things get. He also named all his moves after places in America for some reason. All Might beats the villain with a single punch, puts the sludge into a soda bottle, and is about to fly away. But Midoriya isn't missing this opportunity to meet the man he idolizes more than anyone else. He grabs onto All Might's leg and goes for a little ride with him through the sky. A pretty embarrassing way to meet your hero, all things considered. All Might lands on a rooftop and tries to ditch this fanboy, but Midoriya calls out after him, asking if it's possible for someone without a quirk to become a hero. Episode 2, What It Takes to Be a Hero. While All Might and Midoriya are talking, elsewhere, Bakugo is being attacked by the same sludge villain that All Might just let escape. Hey, even the #1 hero makes mistakes sometimes. On the rooftop, Midoriya is explaining his ambitions when All Might suddenly transforms from the big beefy guy he is into a skinny, lanky form. Not quite what the symbol of peace should look like. All Might explains that he received devastating injuries 5 years ago and can now only maintain his more powerful form for short periods of time. Nobody knows that All Might is weakened, and he has to keep it a secret so that villains don't become emboldened. All Might says that a hero must always be ready to risk their life, and it would be irresponsible for him to tell a quirkless boy that he could be a hero. Then, All Might realizes that, oops, the sludge villain escaped the soda bottle a while ago. He and Midoriya see some nearby explosions and both run towards them. The sludge villain, who genuinely never gets a name besides sludge villain, has gotten even bigger and taken Bakugo as a hostage. Other pro heroes are struggling to beat him, and Bakugo's explosions are powerless against the sludge. To make things worse, All Might has reached his limit and can no longer use his hero form. When Midoriya sees that Bakugo is in trouble, he recklessly charges forward and tries to free Bakugo with his bare hands.
No, you idiot!
See, even though Bakugo is a horrible bully, Midoriya still views him as a childhood friend and always refers to him as the affectionate Kachan. In return, Bakugo calls him Deku, a nickname that essentially means useless. Midoriya doesn't have a hateful bone in his body. All Might recovers enough strength to step in and save both boys with his signature punch, a Detroit Smash. Afterwards, all the other pro heroes scold Midoriya for being so reckless, and Bakugo belittles him for thinking that he could do anything to help. Damn! This is the thanks he gets for risking his life? Fortunately, one person actually recognized the bravery that Midoriya showed. All Might follows after Midoriya and tells him that there is a way he can become a hero. Episode 3, Roaring Muscles. All Might explains to Midoriya that his quirk, called One for All, is totally unique in the case that it can actually be passed down to other people. After seeing Midoriya's heroic spirit, All Might has decided that this boy is a worthy successor and offers to give him this powerful quirk. Midoriya accepts immediately. After years of coming to terms with having no quirk, he's about to get the best one there is. It won't be easy though, as One for All apparently places a tremendous amount of stress on the user's body. Midoriya will have to train relentlessly for the next 10 months until he is finally ready to accept the quirk. 10 months also just happens to be how long they have until the entrance exams for UA High. Midoriya gives 110% to his training, cleaning up an entire filthy beach by himself and even going beyond the insane regimen that All Might set for him. 10 months go by until the day of the exams has finally arrived. All Might tells Midoriya that his body is now strong enough to be a suitable vessel for One for All. It's now time for the legendary ritual to pass on All Might's quirk, which is actually just Midoriya eating a piece of All Might's hair. Ew.
Eat this!
Pretty anticlimactic after all this training. Midoriya gobbles down that golden lock, and All Might warns him to keep this whole quirk inheriting thing a secret. With that, Midoriya heads to UA. He trips as soon as he gets there, but is caught by Ochako Uraraka. a kind-hearted girl with an anti-gravity quirk. The school's loud, boisterous teacher, Present Mike, explains how the exams will work. Students will first go through a practical exam where they try to defeat robots inside a fake city, followed by a written exam. Despite having absolutely zero practice with his new powers, Midoriya is determined to pass this test with flying colors. Episode 4. Start Line. The practical exam starts, and Midoriya frantically starts looking for robots he can smash to rack up some points. Unfortunately, he doesn't really even know how to smash. All Might warned him that he can only use a fraction of One For All's true power, or risk destroying his own body. The other applicants are taking out the weaker robots super fast too. Uraraka uses her anti-gravity to lift the robots up and smash them on the ground. The straight-laced teacher's pet speedster Tenya Ida destroys them with his mighty kicks using the engines in his leg. And all Midoriya can do is watch. Before long, the test is almost over, and Midoriya is still sitting at 0 points. Suddenly, a giant skyscraper-sized robot appears. This robot is designed to teach the kids to run away from fights they can't possibly win, so it isn't even worth any points. Then, Midoriya sees Uraraka knocked down and about to be stepped on by this giant robot. Midoriya channels One For All into just his legs to launch himself into the air, then into his right arm to blow away this robot with a single punch.
Wow! Show who you are. Embody what it means to be a hero.
His hero moment doesn't last too long, as Midoriya realizes using this power absolutely obliterated both his legs and his right arm. Uraraka catches him at the last second, but the test ends with 0 points for Midoriya and he passes out cold. His terrible injuries are quickly fixed thanks to the healing quirk of UA's sweet old nurse, Recovery Girl. A week later, the exam results arrive at Midoriya's house. Miraculously, despite earning no points in the practical exam and almost dying after a single punch, he passed due to the heroism he showed in saving Uraraka. And it certainly doesn't hurt that his new mentor All Might is also UA's newest teacher. Hooray for favoritism! Episode 5. What I Can Do For Now. That night, Midoriya meets up with All Might, who congratulates him on getting into UA. All Might gives young Midoriya advice on how to better control One For All so that he doesn't keep destroying his limbs every time he uses it. A few months later, Midoriya arrives for his first day at UA High. Stepping through the door into Class 1A, Midoriya sees some familiar faces. Uraraka, Ida, and of course, the exam's top scorer, Bakugo. Bakugo is naturally pretty confused as to how a damn quirkless nerd ended up in the same class as him, and the students are all interrupted by the appearance of their exhausted-looking, no-nonsense teacher, Shota Aizawa. He wastes no time and brings the students out to the field so they can each show off the limits of their quirks. Just for fun, he adds that whoever performs the worst on this little quirk test will be immediately expelled. You ain't in junior high anymore, kiddos. Now, there are a lot of characters in Class 1A, so I'll try to space out the introductions as to not overwhelm you. We've got Tsuyu Asui, a strange but kind girl with frog powers. Yuga Aoyama, a fancy French boy with a belly button laser, and Mezzo Shoji, the strong silent type who can grow extra arms. Man, trying to remember all these names makes me feel like I'm really back in high school. While the other students show off what they can do, Midoriya can't really do anything since he doesn't want to break his arms again. Not wanting to be expelled, He tries using One For All to throw a baseball as far as he can, but nothing happens. Mr. Aizawa reveals that his quirk Erasure allows him to disable other people's quirks just by looking at them. He could tell that Midoriya was about to hurt himself again and disabled One For All.
Wait, you did what to my... Those goggles! I know you!
Aizawa tells his student that there's no place at UA for someone who can't control their quirk. Midoriya thinks back on all of All Might's advice, focuses on channeling just a small amount of power into his fingertips, and throws the ball over 700 meters while only breaking one finger. Okay, hey, it's a start. Episode 6, Rage You Damn Nerd. Bakugo is super pissed when he sees this, assuming that Midoriya has been hiding a super powerful quirk their entire lives. Bakugo attacks Midoriya, but is immediately stopped by Mr. Aizawa's badass capture weapon scarf. This all-time teacher warns his students not to make him use his erasure quirk too much, since it stops working when he blinks, and that really dries out his eyes. A small but annoying weakness. Mr. Aizawa then announces the test results, and despite one great throw, Midoriya is dead last. Fortunately, the whole expulsion thing was a lie to make the students try harder. A classic Aizawa gotcha. The next day, Class 1A gets their first legit hero training class with All Might.
I am here! Coming to the door like a hero!
They all put on their hero costumes provided by UA and head to the same training ground where they took the entrance exam. Midoriya decides to wear a homemade costume his single mother made for him because he's just a mama's boy at heart. All Might tells the class that they'll be splitting into teams for some 2-on-2 training exercises, with half the class playing the role of villains. The villain team will have to guard a nuclear weapon, while the heroes try to thwart their plans. For the first match, Midoriya and Uraraka will be the heroes against Bakugo and Ida. The second match starts. Bakugo rushes towards Midoriya to blow up this damn nerd, but what Midoriya lacks in control, he makes up for in analyzing and predicting his opponent's moves. He's been watching Bakugo fight for years and knows exactly how to counter, flipping him over and slamming him into the ground. Midoriya shouts that he is no longer a defenseless victim, and is reclaiming the Deku nickname Deku as his hero name. Bakugo screams at Midoriya that he hates him. Not exactly hero behavior there, Kacchan. But I suppose you're playing the role of villain, so I'll allow it this once. Episode 7, Deku vs. Kacchan. The next episode starts with a flashback showing us the source of Bakugo's hatred. See, when they were little kids, Bakugo always saw himself as superior to Midoriya, especially after his quirk manifested, which usually happens around 4 years of age. One day, Bakugo fell down into a river, and Midoriya offered a helping hand. Bakugo took this as an insult, declared that he never needs pity or help from Midoriya, and has hated him ever since. Seriously? That's your villain origin? A little boy was nice to you once. Ugh, I can already feel a majorly unearned redemption arc coming. Dang it! Back in the present, Midoriya is able to hold his own against Bakugo, even without using One For All. Armed with just his knowledge and some capture tape, similar to Aizawa's scarf, he dodges every single one of Bakugo's moves. While those two are busy, Uraraka reaches the weapon that Ida is guarding. Midoriya plans to capture Bakugo and make it a 2-on-1 fight, but it ain't gonna be easy. Bakugo shows off his new grenade gauntlets that store up his explosive sweat and starts dominating Midoriya in explosive close quarters combat. He tries to goad Midoriya into using his new quirk, But when Midoriya refuses, Bakugo launches a massive charged-up blast. The two boys charge at each other, and Midoriya is finally ready to use One for All. He launches a Detroit Smash, not at Bakugo, but at the ceiling. This creates debris that Uraraka can touch to make it float, and then send flying at Ida as a weapon. This risky move allows the hero team to reach the nuclear weapon and claim victory, but it leaves Midoriya wide open to Bakugo's attack.
The hero team wins!
Once again, Deku has won at the cost of severe injury to himself. Episode 8. Bakugo. Bakugo is distraught at this turn of events. Not because he almost just killed a classmate, of course, but because he somehow lost to Deku. Midoriya goes to the nurse's office, and All Might basically just tells Bakugo to move on. Good advice! In the next match, Mashirao Ojiri, a stoic martial artist with a big tail, is teamed up with Toru Hagakure, a cheerful girl who can literally never turn off her invisibility and is usually naked to maximize her quirk's abilities. Don't think about it too much. They're up against the hero team, multi-armed Shoji and Shoto Todoroki, a brooding badass with ice powers and half of his body covered up. Mysterious. Shoji can create more than just arms, it turns out, and uses some extra eyes and ears to quickly locate their opponents. Then, Todoroki launches a giant ice attack that covers the whole building, freezes the villains to the ground, and secures the heroes a super quick victory. I'm thinking this guy is one to keep an eye on. Later, after all the matches have been concluded, Midoriya has fully recovered and returns to class just as they're all heading home. The others all congratulate Midoriya on his victory and quick thinking, but Bakugo is nowhere to be seen. Midoriya runs ahead and finds Bakugo to tell him that he just recently acquired this quirk and wasn't hiding it. Bakugo doesn't want to hear it, and pitifully, he actually starts to cry. After losing his match and witnessing Todoroki's incredible power, Bakugo has just started to realize that he still has a lot to learn, and vows to never lose to Deku again. Elsewhere, a mysterious figure covered in disembodied hands reads a newspaper article about All Might becoming a teacher at UA. He wonders aloud what would happen if the symbol of peace were to be snuffed out by villains for good. Episode 9. Yeah, just do your best, Ida. Now it's time for Class 1A to choose their class representative. It's kinda sad how obviously Ida wants to be chosen, and even sadder when he gets 0 votes. Midoriya gets the most votes, with the intelligent and professional Momo Yaoyorozu as his deputy. While we're introducing her, Yaoyorozu's quirk allows her to produce almost any object she wants from her own body. The perfect quirk for a tactician like Momo. At lunch, Ida reveals that he comes from a whole family of famous speedster heroes. His older brother is the famous hero Ingenium, which is why Ida has such high expectations for himself. Suddenly, an alarm goes off. UA's campus has been breached by reporters looking to get some pictures of All Might. The students panic and create a stampede, but Ida quickly takes control of the situation and organizes all of the students in an orderly fashion.
What are you doing?
After seeing this, Midoriya decides to resign as class rep and give the job to Ida. He's the best man for the job, and let's be honest, he kinda needs this. Later, the class takes a field trip to participate in a rescue exercise. On the way there, Midoriya talks to Eijiro Kirishima, a hard-headed boy whose quirk literally gives him a super hard head, and Mina Ashido, an easygoing, alien-looking girl with acidic powers. There's also Denki Kaminari, who's not the brightest in the class but has some sweet electricity powers, and Minoru Mineta, the class pervert and by far the most hated character in all of MHA. I promise, we're like almost halfway through introducing this class. As soon as they reach their destination, a massive arena, the students are greeted by the astronaut-looking rescue hero 13. All Might is supposed to be here too, but he's running late because he couldn't help saving some people and needs time to recharge his hero form. Before Aizawa can explain the rescue exercise, a portal appears in the middle of the arena. A whole horde of villains and monsters step out, and Aizawa tells his students, this is not an exercise. Episode 10, Encounter with the Unknown. The bad guys are led by Tomura Shigaraki, aka the dude covered in hands, as well as a weird crow-looking monster and a dark void villain who created the portal they just used. They introduce themselves as the League of Villains, and realize their main target All Might is missing, but they might as well kill some students while they're here. Aizawa takes charge, telling 13 to evacuate the students and contact their teachers. 13 tries, but finds that communications have all been jammed. Mr. Aizawa then shows just what the pro-hero Eraserhead can do, and takes out a bunch of the villains with his capture scarf. The students try to escape, but the portal villain Kurogiri separates them and warps them all to different areas of the arena. The villains think that this fight is gonna be like taking candy from a baby and then beating up the baby. But everyone in Class 1A is determined to hold their own, go beyond their limits, plus ultra, yada yada yada, you get it. Midoriya has been warped onto a boat with Mineta and Asui, and they're being circled by aquatic villains. Midoriya just uses 2 fingers to flick the water with immense power and create a whirlpool. Mineta cries and whines a lot, but eventually fills the whirlpool with sticky balls that he can generate from his head. Yeah, I'm not sure how he passed the entrance exam either. The villains get trapped in the sticky vortex, and Asui leaps away carrying Midoriya with her frog tongue. Damn! These powers are actually kinda coming in clutch! Episode 11, Game Over. After escaping the shipwreck zone, Mineta and Asui both want to find the exit as soon as possible, but Midoriya convinces them that they should all go help Mr. Aizawa in the center of the arena. Meanwhile, Todoroki is effortlessly freezing villains in their tracks while trying to gather information about their plan. Yeah, he's just chill like that. I'm so sorry. Yaoyarozu and Kaminari have been teleported along with Kyoka Jiro, a rocker chick with wires coming out of her ears that can create sonic blasts. Villains begin to swarm them, and Kaminari tells the others he really can't control his electricity and would risk shocking them if he used it. Yaoyorozu creates an insulated sheet out of her own body and covers herself and Jiro. Kaminari is able to go all out and electrocutes every villain around them.
Now I don't have to worry about hurting my friends! You guys are fried!
At the same time, Eraserhead is fighting Shigaraki, whose simple quirk Decay allows him to disintegrate anything he touches. Aizawa is able to hold his own, but his elbow is damaged by Shigaraki, who steps back to let the giant crow monster finish the job. And this grotesque thing is the perfect counter to Eraserhead, because it's super powerful even without using a quirk. Midoriya and the others arrive at the center of the arena just in time to see their teacher utterly defeated by this bioengineered monster called Anomu. Elsewhere, thanks to the help of Rikido Sato, a straightforward brawler who gets stronger when he eats candy, and Hanta Sero, a Spider-Man ripoff who can shoot tape from his elbows, Ida is able to escape the arena to go inform the other teachers. With hero backup on the way, Kurogiri decides it is too risky for the villains to stay here, and tells Shigaraki that they must retreat. Shiggy, as the internet affectionately refers to him, wants to kill at least a few students before going home. He moves to attack Midoriya's group, but is frozen by the sudden appearance of All Might. Episode 12, All Might. All Might rips off his tie and shouts his iconic catchphrase.
Have no fear, students. Because I am here.
Well, one of them. I think he has like 4 or 5 at this point. Anyway, the symbol of peace takes out all the remaining fodder villains in an instant. Midoriya tries to warn All Might that the Nomu might be as strong as he is. But All Might just says, "Thanks, kid. I've got it from here." Midoriya and the other students evacuate with the injured Mr. Aizawa, while All Might stays with Shiggy and the Nomu, which is, coincidentally, the name of my favorite ska band. Everybody is confident that All Might can handle this, except for Midoriya, who knows that All Might isn't as strong as he once was. Thanks to some portal shenanigans from Kurogiri, the Nomu manages to grab All Might right in his injured spot. Midoriya runs to help, but both Bakugo and Todoroki want the glory of saving All Might for themselves. Well, Bakugo does. Todoroki is just that guy. Working together, they are able to break off some of the Nomu's limbs. But in addition to everything else, this beast has a healing quirk that lets him regenerate parts of his body. Way too OP. Shiggy starts monologuing about how heroes are the real bad guys in society, which is pretty hollow coming from a guy trying to kill kids. All Might tells him to shut up and starts an insane fistfight with the Nomu, where he pushes well past his limits. All Might overwhelms and defeats the Nomu with 300 hits. Although he says in his prime, he could have done it in 5. Shigaraki seethes in anger as his plans fall apart before his eyes. Episode 13, In Each of Our Hearts. In the season finale, Shigaraki starts to panic, but Kurogiri tells him that All Might must be at his limit, and this is the perfect opportunity to kill him. They both attack, and Midoriya breaks both of his legs by launching forward to intercept. Shiggy is about to grab and disintegrate Midoriya's face when he is suddenly shot in the arm. Ida has arrived with the pro hero Snipe, plus a ton of other heroes. Kurogiri can barely teleport himself and Shigaraki away before getting captured. All in all, I think we can call this first round against the League of Villains a draw. Exhausted, All Might reverts to his weak form. The cement hero Cementos uses his powers to prevent any of the students from seeing the scrawny All Might. Cementos can be trusted with this secret. He's rock solid. All the injured are brought to the infirmary, and everyone survives with just some bumps and bruises, and 2 broken legs, of course. Shiggy and the Void return to their hideout, an empty bar, where they communicate with their mysterious overlord. Shigaraki is pissed because he was promised by this shadowy master that All Might would be weaker than Nomu, but the voice just tells him to continue gathering elite villains and have patience. Later, Midoriya is in recovery and thanks All Might for saving them. All Might responds that it's the young heroes in training who deserve all the thanks.
I don't think there's ever been a group of first years who experienced a real fight like this so early in their training.
Midoriya is released from the infirmary and walks home with his new friends Uraraka and Ida. From the rooftops, another completely different mysterious figure watches them depart. And you know what? Before this first season comes to a close, let's finish up the Class 1A introductions. This is Koji Koda, a gentle, timid boy who can talk to animals. And this is Fumikage Tokoyaki, a falcon-headed badass with a powerful shadow that gets stronger in the darkness. Whew! Alright, that is all of them. Until we get to Class 1B. Crap!